last summer I went on a road trip with my boyfriend to Sicily, but being me and wanting to milk the trip and do something independent, I decided to get a train to Naples and spend 2 nights in the city by myself. This video is all about what I got up to and my travel tips for staying safe when travelling solo as a female. Good morning and welcome to Naples. I have travelled here by myself and as always I'm going to be taking you around with me. So today we're going to be doing the 3 things that I love to do: seeing pretty things, taking pictures and eating. Naples is a busy city, it's a chaotic city. It's got things that are absolutely majestic and then it's got some things that are a little bit dirty too. But that's what makes this city so amazing in my opinion. It's so full of life and that life just spills out onto the streets, whether it's the huge ones or the little alleyways. And this is also one of the reasons why people told me to be so careful travelling in Naples alone. It does have higher crime rates than certainly cities that I've lived in before, and this ranges from pickpocketing to organised crime. But don't let that scare you off. Me being me probably used that partly as motivation to go and prove that I could travel to the city by myself despite what some other people were saying. And if you stick to some simple tips, it's absolutely safe to do so. My first tip, because of some of the things I just said, and just a good one in general, arrive before dark. This gives you time to understand where you're staying, suss out the situation, and be alert when you're trying to find out where to go with your suitcase and your bags. One area I was told to be particularly careful of was the Quartieri Spagnoli. This is an area of Naples that's filled with lots of characteristic alleyways, little squares with the traditional housing in Naples, which is apartments built on top of each other and lots of people living in close proximity. Alleyways are filled with markets and motorbikes that are trying to zoom past, so you can understand why it might be easier for crimes to take place here than say in some of the open spaces in Naples. Having said that, I did feel very safe when I was walking through there, but I think that's partly down to my second tip, which is not to always be on guard and be scared, but to always be alert. How alert you need to be is going to depend on your surroundings. So just check in with yourself and have different things that you'll do in different situations so that you don't need to be scared, but you're taking precautions to take care of yourself. Like maybe you don't listen to loud music with headphones in when you're walking down an alleyway by yourself, or don't have your expensive camera hanging out in certain areas where your intuition is telling you that it's probably not the best thing to do. Always trust your gut. I should also mention that on this trip I had a kind of setup every day that I was really comfortable with and I think helped to protect me from pickpockets. I was wearing a simple cotton dress because it was very hot, but also it was just easy for me to move around in and do what I had to do. I then had my over-the-shoulder bag that I could fit everything in. It zipped up, I could hold it next to me, move it to the front of my body if I was walking through a busy alleyway. And I always take with me a little bit of extra money hidden somewhere other than in my wallet, just in case I am pickpocketed. So somewhere like your shoe or your bra would be perfect. Other than that, I just had the necessities that would fit easily into my bag. So I had my wallet, I had my phone and phone charger just in case my phone started to die. That leads me on to my next tip, which is know your route. Always load up your Google map or whatever you're using before you leave your hotel or restaurant or whatever. This means that while you have Wi-Fi, you can load up your route. GPS will keep that little tracker going as you're walking around the city. Then you don't have to walk around with your phone always in your hand. This kind of makes you a target, it makes you look like you don't know what's going on. This way you can look confident, like you know where you're going. Even if you're not sure, just get to the next stop so that you can pop in a shop or go somewhere that's a bit busier and check your phone again. Just the last thing you want to do is look vulnerable when you actually are vulnerable, but don't take that to the extreme either and act really paranoid, because that's also a sure sign that you don't know where you're going. And with that setup, I felt safe and comfortable, and it was so much easier to go out and enjoy things like food. I decided before I even got to Naples, I think, that I wanted to get a traditional sfogliatella for breakfast, and that's basically a kind of light pastry that's not got a very light filling. It's orange flavoured ricotta, and it's so good. I of course had to try out some traditional Neapolitan pizza. I actually wanted to get it for lunch that day and then breakfast again the day after, but I didn't have time, so I just had to have it once. But I went to a restaurant called Napoli in Bocca. They do just marinara or margherita pizzas because those are the only true Neapolitan pizzas, apparently. My favourite way to travel is to walk around and take pictures and just admire the things along the way. I don't necessarily go to all the tourist spots, but I do try to visit some things that are particularly interesting to me and maybe even do a bit of research beforehand so that I know what those are. So I spoke to my Neapolitan friend before I left, and her recommendation was probably my favourite thing of the whole trip, which was an evening walk along the Lungomare. The views were incredible, the sunset was amazing, and I stopped at Antonio e Antonio, which was a beautiful restaurant on the waterfront, and just admired the views and enjoyed more food, obviously. But it was during this meal that I broke a couple of my own rules. Don't tell other people that you're traveling alone, and don't have too much alcohol, because otherwise you can't stay alert. Now, it wasn't too bad. I met another solo traveller and told them that I was traveling alone, but in general, it's really not a good idea. I wouldn't recommend it. I always tell people that I'm meeting up with friends later, make up some excuse so that people don't think that if they were to kidnap you or something, then no one would notice. Now, it wasn't actually all that bad. I wasn't actually drunk. I had wine and then I had a baba. It's a dessert that has rum in it. And I just definitely lost a little bit of my edge after that. Like I said before, I want to be as alert as possible. Luckily for me, everything was okay, but I did have to walk back to my Airbnb in the dark. And this leads me on to another useful tip for when you're traveling alone. Make sure that you tell people where you are. Now, I mean this generally, make sure like your family, your friends, people that you trust know what city you're in, what town you're in, where you're staying. But in this situation, I was walking back in the dark and most of the journey was fine, but I found myself having to go through some of those alleyways again. There was like a 30-second part where I couldn't really see around the corners and it was dark. So at this point, I literally shared my current location with my boyfriend on WhatsApp so that if anything did go wrong, at least somebody knew exactly where I was. All in all, it was a really amazing day. And I don't tell you these tips to try and scare you, it's the opposite. If you follow these precautions, then you don't need to be scared. So the best we can do is just protect ourselves the best we can within our power and enjoy ourselves. So let me give you a little recap of my top tips so that you can stay safe too. Now, the first one is arrive before dark. If that's not possible, then just have a backup plan in place. Make sure that you've ordered a taxi in advance or you're getting a shuttle bus to your hostel. Next one is to be aware. And I don't mean beware, like panic the whole time. I just mean stay alert, listen to your intuition and your gut, and act accordingly. Fitting in with that one is the one about trying to keep your senses about you, so don't have too much alcohol or anything else that might lower your defenses or lower your sense of judgment. Know your route. So make sure that you load up that Google map while you've still got Wi-Fi before you go, or your whatever map you're using, so that you can walk with confidence and not appear vulnerable. Don't tell people you're traveling alone. Tell people that you've got friends coming to visit you, that your boyfriend lives in the next town over. I don't know, work it out depending on where you're visiting. Let people that you trust know where you are. Now, in a more general sense, that means telling your family, your friends, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, what city or town you're visiting that day. But also, if the situation calls for it, literally share your location with someone. The sad truth is that bad things could happen anywhere in the world, even in your own hometown. So don't let this put you off going out and traveling. You just need to make sensible decisions when you're deciding where to go in the first place. And then when you're there, based on the situation, listen to your gut, take these precautions so that you don't need to be scared, so that you can go out there and enjoy everything the world has to offer. And tell me in the comments, where are you traveling alone to next? Have you traveled alone to Naples? Have you been to Naples? Do you love pizza too? If it's your first time here, my name is Emily and I am a traveling filmmaker and business owner. I make lots of videos like this about my experiences traveling and being an entrepreneur on the road and living abroad. So if you like this video and you want to see more videos like it, then please remember to subscribe, and I'd love to see you here next week for my next video. Have a great day, everyone. Stay safe. Have a great day, everyone. Stay safe on your travels, and I will see you in my next video.